Hello! Today I want to share 10 words that intuitively came to me probably about 2 years ago, and they are going to be the content of my next book, which I will begin writing soon. And these 10 things I am calling the 10 pillars to a happy childhood. My name is Lisa Coleman. I'm an early childhood educator running a family daycare. I'm also a mother of 4 children who I've been unschooling for the past 14 years. My eldest has moved out, he's 24, and my youngest is 12. And I'm very passionate about sharing what I've learned in this time of exploration as a mother. And while I am on the path of developing professionally and coming more into counseling and psychology, I do also have a very intuitive side to me. And these 10 words were very strong, came to me very strong in my intuition, and they are things that I have been learning to embody within myself for over a decade now. And they may not be an ultimate truth for everybody out there, but they are very dear to my heart. They are close to me. I have embodied all of these, and I still aim to do that. I make mistakes, so basically these 10 pillars, if they were to be fully embodied and practiced, it would result in like the perfect childhood in my view. And now that's not going to happen because nobody's going to have a perfect childhood. But if I can practice these and embody these 10 pillars as closely as possible, then I'm giving my children the best chance at that amazing childhood, which I have done already. As I said, there have been challenges and mistakes along the way, but I'm going to share briefly with you what these 10 pillars are and how each one has looked for my family. The 10 pillars are freedom, choice, trust, honesty, respect, empathy, understanding, acceptance, expression, and play. And now I do believe that children need all of these things consistently to develop into healthy, happy human beings, living their life purpose, and sort of growing free from any conditioning that may have been placed on us as children that we may unconsciously pass on to them. So as I said, I don't expect myself or anybody to follow these 100% all of the time. But if we can tap into what each are and we can feel it within our body and feel it within our children and see the results, then we know we have a framework to work with, and we can just do the best we can to embody these qualities and promote them in our children. The first pillar is freedom, and what that means to me is freedom for our children to be who they are. So I do believe that children come here with their own life plan, their own purpose, their own passions, and they need the freedom to develop and recognize these. And when I say freedom, I don't mean just letting young children run wild on the street and, out onto the road and car parks and doing whatever they want. As parents, we have a duty to take care of our children when they're little, but as they get older, they need to be able to have this freedom to be who they are, follow their passions, follow their interests, move about the world and explore on their own in a safe environment. We can be protective and caring while letting them find their own identity and who they are. So how this has looked for my children is just, moving about. Like I didn't always have them in prams when we went out because I could pay attention to the times that they wanted to move their legs and their feet. So I would let them do that no matter what other people thought. If they were running through the shopping center, I would let them do that because they weren't harming anybody. Things like not wearing shoes if they didn't want to, and not being overdressed, having the freedom to be naked, and just things like that, like not having strict bedtimes as they got older, letting them have the freedom to tap into their own internal guidance system, and when they're hungry, when they need to be toilet trained, when they need to sleep. So just freedom is extremely important for all of us. The next one is choice. So most children, things are chosen for them, and this is understandable when children are little. Like, we have a responsibility to give them healthy food and put them to bed when they're tired. But as they get older, it is very important that they learn to make their own decisions and choose things for themselves. Often they are moved here, they are moved there, they are told what to do, where to go, how to behave, when to sleep, when to eat, who to play with. They're made to go to school and kindy and daycare. And that's only because many of us think that's what has to happen. But it's very important, it has been for me, to give my children choice over these things. And how that looked for my family was when my eldest was 10, I recognized that he and my 5-year-old son, they no longer were enjoying school, and I came to discover homeschooling, and I gave them the choice to leave public schooling if they wanted to, and to learn from home. And it just progressed from there. I recognized the importance of them being in tune with their own body, and when they were hungry and what they wanted to eat, and when they were tired, and they got to choose their bedtimes. And I do have a video on this, on sleep, to explain in greater detail how this looked with my children being free to choose their own sleeping patterns, if you want to check that out. The next pillar is trust. So trust is very important. Children like to feel trusted to make their own decisions and to know what's right and best for them. So often we don't believe that they can direct their own lives and make good choices and healthy choices. And we have to trust that, sometimes they're going to make bad decisions, and they're going to eat the wrong foods, and they're going to want to do things that we don't deem as healthy or right. But we have to trust that they do have a sense of internal guidance where they need to learn from their mistakes, and they need to, we need to trust that they're being guided themselves into what's right for them and the lessons they need to learn. When children feel trusted, it gives them a sense of confidence and strength, and they trust life themselves because they've been demonstrated that trust, rather than hovering over them and worrying about everything they're doing and trying to prevent things. If we can have a sense of trust for the way that their journey is unfolding, this is really going to help them. So how this has looked for my children was, letting them have unlimited screen time and trusting the sites that they were using, and not always monitoring and checking in with like internet safety. And yes, I know it's not a very popular concept, but that has worked for me and my family. I would not have it any other way. It's been like 14 years, and my children, I've never had a bad experience with them using the internet. They've always just navigated, things themselves. They've learnt to read and write and made really close friendships, and they've known when to block people and to turn away, and they know what sites to not go on. I've never really had to drum this into them. So trust is us trusting the process, and being there if there is a mistake or something that we need to help with. The next pillar is honesty. So this is important because it works both ways. So we need to be honest, and authenticity comes under honesty. So if we can be honest and authentic ourselves with our children and speak from the heart, Mummy's not feeling good today. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling like I don't know how to be a mum right now. So I just need to take a little break. I'm sorry. I'm feeling angry. I'm not coping well right now. Everything feels too loud. I just can't play with you right now. I'm feeling scared that I'm doing the wrong thing. So I just need to sit with myself, taking breaks, but being honest, not making it about our child, that they're the ones causing our overwhelm and stress. Just being honest with them and saying, or if we're crying and sad, mummy's sad right now. And just crying in front of them and letting them know that emotions are normal and healthy. This is going to teach children to also be honest. So they're less likely to grow up and tell lies and hide things because we're not showing them that feelings are wrong and that having thoughts and emotions and, just going through a rough time is not okay. Like, we don't want to teach them that. Honesty is about showing our children who we really are, being authentic, and this is going to teach them to do the same. Honesty also includes not making our kids say things that aren't true for them, like apologizing to other children if they were putting up a boundary, or forcing them to say hello or goodbye to people when they don't want to talk, when they don't feel like talking. We need to honor that. And if we're trying to tell them you should say this or you should say that, we're kind of teaching them the opposite of honesty. We're teaching them to lie about how they feel, and so we can't really expect them to grow up knowing what's real and true and authentic for them.